Welcome to Circle of Hearts Radio. Journey with Grandmother Allayah as she enters her magical world of relics, sacred sites, and ancient crystal skulls. Meet with exciting trailblazer authors and individuals shifting the consciousness of humanity. Send her your questions to be answered on air on her monthly segment, Ask the Oracle. And now your host, Grandmother Allayah, in the sanctuary on the airwaves on OMTimes Radio.
Radio, your sanctuary of enlightenment on the airwaves on AM FM. I'm your host, Allayah. Now, today's show is very different than some of the other shows I'll present. When I was planning my schedules, I was strongly guided by Spirit of doing a once-a-month show of sharing my gifts or my little pearls of wisdom, with the listeners. Now, this is anybody that knows me, this is a very, very big move for me because I have always been in the background, and only recently, actually since 2010, I believe, that I really start coming into public. So I'm known in the Crystal Skull community. And, some parts of, on Facebook that I've done some sharing, I have my timeline and some other pages. And coming on radio, this was a spirit divine event, guided. This is nothing in the world that I ever thought in my life that I'd be doing. So I want to share in the beginning a little bit about me and what we're going to be doing on this show, because the Ask the Oracles or Grandmother's Wisdom, I want you to view it as a warm space, a personal contact that you're able to share questions, whether it's curiosities about history or something personal. Or, it could be a variety of things because I'm looking at the questions that people shared with me that I'm going to be bringing on shortly. And it's amazing how they really apply to the collective energies of everybody. I mean, you may be, if I'm fortunate, if you're listening in Australia or all over the world, you might find yourself in these questions. So it's really important that people do share because we really are one. Now, before I really get involved in the questions, I just want to do in this brief segment of the show of sharing about me. Now, this is a big step. This is coming out of the shadows because it's things I'm going to be sharing. I know I have some family members and some friends listening that don't even know this about me because it's not something that it's like you bring up in daily conversation. But it's time. It's time for you to really see who I am and for, to basically to come out. So I ask you to bear with me as I share these things because in sharing it, you possibly will see parts of your own journey within my own. And I'll make it reasonably short. I mean, I'm going to be 66. It's a long journey here, but I'm going to get to the highlights. First of all, the use of the word grandmother. Now, I have great respect for this name, and I really had pondered using it. And a friend had told me, well, there's grandmothers or elders in all different cultures. They're the wisdom keepers. They're the ones that share through experience. They're, the medicine woman. So 6 years ago, a dear friend of mine who has since transitioned a few years ago, Gary Moonhawk Butler, a very deep spiritual man, shaman, healer, because of the work we did together with ancient crystal skulls and dragon energy and dragon pearls. Both he and his circle of Hopi elders, which he was strongly affiliated with me, had bestowed the name of grandmother on me. And he had constantly said, now it's time. You need to go into this role. But I was not ready for this. So I've never used the title because I have so much respect for it. But when I was coming to this show, it said, no, it's time. This is, time to, put your wisdom out there and to follow your path. So it's with great respect that I'm placed on this title, grandmother. So now, we move on from that. And if you have a chance to read my biography a little bit, and this is not all ego-centered, this is just purely to share things, to have you understand something about me, because I really do. I'm constantly walking in between worlds. I see different dimensions constantly, and that's why sometimes, honestly, I zone out. And it's not for lack of words, it's just something catches my attention. So and for this show, many times I've written down messages and thoughts that I can keep focused. So, we don't have dead air on this show. When I incarnated onto this planet, I'm the third child of my parents who were very not just as spiritually orientated. I would say they came from Europe and they were very superstitious, and they brought with them all the patterning and superstitions that they were, brought up with. But when I came, and I was one of these surprise children, I was like born 13 years after my sister. They really didn't know what, where, or who, or what I came from, because I was so different than the other family members. Because I incarnated with the ability to see and to hear and to speak to other spirits. And this was very frightening for my parents. So the pattern I've had in my life is to constantly shut down, to constantly not be myself because of trying to fit in this world, trying to deal with people that don't understand you or understand what gifts you bring to the world. So way back when, I guess the modern generation could say I was one of the early crystal children. So my life has, as I said, I've had many experiences. As a child, I used to just stand outside and lay on the ground, and I'd feel the earth rotating, look at the sky, and I see these huge faces looking at me, and they were sending messages. And I thought all this was normal. I had all these outside friends that nobody saw or believed in. And also as a child, at nighttime, I would see people who had transitioned, my grandparents coming to me, or other people with messages. And this did not go well with my family because they had no idea, what kind of very odd person, they brought into this world. And it was constantly, don't say anything, be quiet. People are going to, put you away someplace, or, hide you someplace. You just don't fit in. Just be quiet all the time. So I constantly went from this back and forth of closing down. And then, but Spirit kept on opening me up. It was really a wild ride. It was as I entered my teenage years, and I can understand what some of the teenagers go through now, of being so overwhelmed, of not fitting in, of not having anyone really to speak to about. And it's not the fault of the parents. It's just the parents are trying to find their own lives. So how could they, it's a very intense world. So sometimes they don't know how to help their children. But, as a teenager, I think it was preteen, everything was so overwhelming. I just wanted to check out of this world. But again, Spirit saved me from this. So then I went through the thing of closing down again for many years, but my sense of psychic ability was always there. My sense of sight was always there. And this led up into the 20s, where, I did all the normal things of getting married and having, two beautiful girls. But as I had closed down, then again, Spirit had a different experience for me. I had a spiritual awakening, which was really very Kundalini-like. My body would shake, and I'd look at the wall, and I'd see through the walls, and I'd see different cultures. I see different people, different dimensions. I started to meet with the Ascended Masters. And all this information came through. Now, what my daughters don't realize is many times while they were taking naps as little babies, their mother was going through this very unique experience. And I'm winding down a little bit because we're going to be coming up to a station break soon. So, with that thought of being in my 20s and the Kundalini experience and the awakening to my guides, etc., I want you to hold a little bit on that thought, and I'm going to be continuing shortly afterwards, the story, and I'm not going to, go on too much more about me. But I just want people to be able to understand where I'm coming from.
OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
The Conscious Parenting Radio Show provides inspiration and resources for loving, empowering, and respecting your children and yourself. Join me, Timothy, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we consciously explore proven ways of living together in happiness, health, and harmony.
Host your show on AM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on AM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. AM FM.
Well, I'm back. And in this break, as I had a chance to refocus a little bit, I decided really not to go into too many details. If anybody's really interested in some of my background, you could go visit my site on the www.sanctuaryofthewhitedove.com, or else go to the OMTimes website, and go to the host page. And there you'll find some links and some information. The whole point of myself of revealing part of my early years was to give you that sense of my experiences and what I have gone through. Now, I'm going to jump ahead to age 50, where I had a major life-altering experience. Again, I've told you I've shut down so many times, which was the third chakra and not being myself. So in revealing all of this, the whole purpose is, how can I ask you to allow you to be, stand in your own light if I don't do this myself? So getting back to age 50 and my really interesting, life-changing experience, I think, is I had developed a brain tumor in the back of my neck, which was benign, thankfully, but it I think it was the buildup of constantly shutting down the throat chakra. You know, the tumor had developed because the energy flow was not allowed. It was constantly blocked. So after having surgery and being in intensive care for months, there was a lot of nerve damage, totally to my left side of visual problems and facial paralysis and not being able to coordinate my hands and my walking. It was like almost be rebirth. The whole point of me mentioning this is I did have a near-death experience, which I left, and I came back. And it's the choice of coming back was you have more to do. It wasn't even so much a choice, a decision. No, I didn't want to leave my family and whatever, and my husband, but it was the whole situation of there is a larger path for you out there. But so I did come back, with a lot of physical disabilities. And that's why sometimes my enunciation is not good. Sometimes, there's a lot of things going on. So, in the show, you're not going to get perfection. You're just going to get me and what spirit comes through me. So briefly, after the near-death experience, my life, besides physically changing, it just mentally and spiritually changed. I entered a whole new world of ancient relics and even finding myself more guides. And the past 15 years has been one of learning and understanding. And like I said, only recently I've just really come out, to the public and to share. And I've had many supportive friends who sometimes have pulled me out, pushed me out. They've always been there. And I'm very grateful for them because that's why I'm here today. Now, as you're saying, zoning out again, coming back, this world of asking the oracle. Originally, I chose that world, that thing, because I do have the relic of Umfla stone, which was used in the oracles of Adelphi as a form of to be used in divination. But then we've come so far, it's not for me to be a seer, because we've learned in our awakening that we're all one and we're awakening consciousness. So, different, the oracles is part of what we are, but then I brought into the words, the grandmother's wisdom to bring in a gentler energy, because the gentler energy of experiences of what we're going through and what spirit wants to bring through. So that's how that name developed. Now I want to, as I, am I talking here, I want to get to some of the questions I had put out. Every month I'm available for you to ask questions to. Sometimes if it's personal, I'm not going to use your names. You'll just be referred to as listeners. But, you can also ask questions about, again, relics, anything that interests you, because this is your space. And know, if something you're curious about, there's somebody else that's curious about something that we're talking about. Now, getting back to the questions that were asked, one of them was, what do I foresee? Do I foresee many of light workers, excuse me, that they're going to become more aware, or they're going to integrate their I am presence in 2015. Awakening spirituality is a very gradual process, because you go through so many levels of purification and dealing with all the emotions and sensitivities. Everybody's becoming so aware and so sensitive and feeling the one universal mind. And this is that sense of oneness, that we all put our thoughts up into this universal grid, and everybody's, as they're awakening, are becoming aware of other people's feelings. And that's what's making it so intense and chaotic in this world. There are some light workers who have, when they are incarnated, part of their soul contract was to awaken early, so that we can help reach out for others. And again, like I said, each year, everybody is opening up more. Is it going, and to answer that question, yes, more people will awaken to their I am presence, but this is going to be a very gradual process. It's not going to be just one day, finding, okay, I understand it all. There's a lot of information on the internet, which are, energy tools, sources for people to be triggered by. There's a lot of great sharing. So actually, to finish this question off, I think I keep on saying the year 2018 is going to be a very pivotal year, that the light quota of people understanding what the I am presence is going to, you're going to see a marked difference in people. Because right now, we're in almost like the childhood stage of still learning, still opening up. And we're all going to reach that point together. And when the people that do awaken a little bit earlier because of their soul choice, they need to also reach out to the other people who are struggling to find their way. I was given the name Allayah as my spirit name back in 2002, and it's one who holds the light. And this is what we do. We hold the light for others to shine their light on their path, so that they are able to see clearly out of the darkness through the illusions, so that as they learn to understand, they can shine their light, so others that follow them, they can reach out to them. So again, the process of awakening to the I am presence, yes, we shall see it in the person that asked this question, because a lot of the information that comes through this beautiful soul is reaching others and is helping others find the I am presence. So to her, please continue to follow your heart and to bring through all the beautiful spirit guidings that you have, because through your heart energy and your light and giving in through the messages of spirit, you're shining your light so brightly, and you're awakening to your I am presence. And it has been gradual. It's been a long journey, but you're integrating that energy so strongly now that in the tarot you see the hermit holding the lantern out for everybody. So the hermit has finally coming out of the shadows into their I am presence, into this particular person that has a question, is really spirit saying to you, step out as who you are, as I stepped out today to who I am. And don't fear, because people are starting to really understand. And I see, again, we're heading toward another close break, so I do really need to start to wind down on that question, so that in the following, it's really amazing how fast time is going here. So in the next quick segment, which is coming up shortly, we're going to talking about the dragonfly medicine, which was asked by two different individuals at two different times. So this is really a very great coincidence, because I have a difficulty using the word synecdoche, and somebody knows that's the person that asked the question. They probably can get a little chuckle out of that one, but I got it out. So dragonfly medicine, what it is and how it's going to affect the year 2015. This is something that we're going to bring into the next segment. So open your hearts and open your minds and join with me in this little fireside chat that we're having, and relax and absorb all this all as we come back into the next segment.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Host your show on AM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on AM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. AM FM.
Well, we're back again. As you are listening to these spirit-inspired messages. And again, I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to ask these questions, because the messages as far as the collective is really important. Now, the dragonfly medicine came up for, what is its purpose in 215? Well, when you think of the dragonfly, if you're at all familiar with anything shamanic, is the dragonfly signifies change. Now, all these years prior to 215, Everybody has gone through intense spiritual experiences, purification, and we've been worn down. And actually, all of you deserve the title of spiritual warriors because your souls have chosen to be here at this time, that they have chosen to learn through growth of all the experiences that you're seeing, living, feeling. And Dragonfly has flown into our presence now to say things are changing. If you look at the dragonfly itself, there's two components. There was a myth I read about the dragonfly that, there was a dragon, a Chinese dragon, and a sorcerer had tricked it into morphing into the dragonfly. And then he did not let it, he did not let it revert back. Now, dragon energy is fascinating. Dragon energy, for people that love it, I mean, there's people that love dragon energy, people that are afraid of dragon energy, but the dragon energy always signifies change. It always signifies the release of blockages, whether in the earth guardianship work or whether in your personal physical body. Dragon energy is Kundalini. It's the awakening of your senses. It's the awakening and raising the vibration up of all the chakras. It's the Kundalini which shakes you aware, which causes you to vibrate higher. And what do we work, or what are we morphing into? The dragonfly. We have all raised our vibration. And if you look at the fly, look at those beautiful eyes that show so many, there are so many facets of a whole. When if you are able to look at the fly, the eye, it sees so many things, all these little different pictures. It's not one composite flat scene. There's so many levels of dimensions, and this is what we're becoming. We're becoming that we're not looking at the world through the eyes of the 3D, the flat imagery. We realize that all is energy, and we're awakening to different levels of seeing things and feeling things. So this is why dragonfly medicine is so important, of being a symbolic of 215. It's change. It's showing you that you're ready to vibrate faster and higher, that you're changing. And that's a very positive symbol because you've gone through so much purification and you need something to realize there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, in my notes, I've written this, which I'm going to read because it's, I want to expedite time a little bit. Is the most important time for seeing through illusions and really hearing the messages that the universe is sending you at this time. How many of us are finally seeing the messages, whether it's angel messages or whether it's looking at the animal world and seeing if the dragonfly comes in, what does it mean? Or if you're drawn to wolves, what does that mean? Or if you're drawn to deers, what does that mean? Or a certain flower or a certain herb. There's messages for all constantly being shown to us. And now is the time for us to investigate what these messages are. Beliefs that center on the powerless limitation of fear are coming up for review. Now, with all these different portals of energies that we've gone through, you can certainly say, I think we've been pretty much blasted apart and being put together. And sometimes you go, is this ever going to end? But this has all been challenges for your growth, spiritual growth. So you become aware and you become more aware of your spirituality. It's not so much the material world. It's time for the world to understand what spirit's all about. It's not something unknown out there, not for you. You are spirit. You always have the power to choose what you're going to believe in and focus on, excuse me, I have to read my own writing. You always have the power to choose what you're going to believe in and focus on you. Always have to help make changes on the current circumstances for the better. This thing of choice is very, very important to recognize. You're not a victim. You have choice and the power to make things different in the world. Working with dragonfly medicine shows that you're ready to step beyond the mass thought of blaming something out there for your problems. Instead, are now getting down to the business of accepting responsibility for what happens in your life by making the appropriate changes you feel guided to. And this is what this year is going to be all about. Dragonfly medicine is showing you be responsible for all your decisions and changes and stop blaming everything around you. It's a time of introspection. It's a time to go and understand what you're creating in your life and to understand the law of attraction, what you're bringing into your life. So this is the message of Dragonfly medicine for the year 2015. It's showing you to go, it is time to go deeper. Now, since I have a few other questions I want to get to, now I'm going to move past this and go on to the next question. A young man had asked me for guidance, some guiding wisdom in his life. And for some, I had written him back and I go, well, what do you mean? Do you mean your spiritual path or your physical path? And this young man surprised me with his words. I don't know why, but he did. He goes, well, isn't that the same? And he goes, I've come back so many times. He goes, what is the guidance that I should be shown? And when I connected with him, I had picked up his soul journey. He has a very old soul, a very wise soul, and a very young body. And he keeps coming back because he hasn't quite learned the lesson of balance, the balance of the divine male and the divine female within one body, not to be totally centered on expressing whether it's the male energy, because I'm constantly repeating this. He needs to understand, he needs to bring that softness and nurturing wisdom into him, because a lot of his past lives I've seen have experienced, they've been one of leadership, one very male orientated. There's been violence around them. There's been he has led other people in many ways, whether it was in different ancient civilizations, whether he was leader of groups. I've seen him in the war. I've seen him experience this, and he's very passionate and very in service to humanity. And through his different times, he's always put it out there, but he's always been influenced by the male paradigm. And the message Spirit has brought to him is open your heart and let that, your nurturing spirit to come out. Now, once he does this, and he does this consciously, he will find himself, he doesn't have to keep on coming back, that he can spend this particular incarnation of truly fulfilling his soul contract, of being in service to others, of being a teacher, not always necessarily a teacher in the school sense, but a teacher, a wisdom keeper, which he can just pass on his insights to others just by purely being in whatever situation he finds himself in. This young man is, for him, he recognizes it's not ego. It's coming from the heart. What can I do for others? How can I reach others? How can I help others? And he needs to bring in this balance of the Divine Mother energies in him and to let them balance him out and let all the past, his ancestral DNA, will be healed. And he can move forward in this life as a beautiful shining light. And I see him working with children, especially for some odd reason, that he can reach them by just being him. He has a beautiful, loving energy. And I won't mention some particular colors he's used to identify himself, but it's so important. The one color is definitely of the Divine Mother, and the other color is of change, of Saint Germain, of the violet flame and transformation. And together, he's embodying them at once. I chose 2 soul cards from the Return of Spirit deck I have. And I just want to, well, we're going to have to cut that short, but please stay tuned and I'll tell you what the card says for him.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Hi, I'm Katrina Kavanagh, host of the I Am Wisdom radio show. I Am Wisdom is about the connection between mind work and energy work, spirituality, and living a wonderful life. Looking forward to sharing each Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with you.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Well, I'm back again. I think I've totally decided I need more than an hour. But anyway, I picked on these 2 readings, I picked up a card. I'm going to briefly read the one for this young man because I think it's very pertinent before I go on to the next question. The card I picked out was Divinity. It says, you're a beautiful, wise, and loving soul who has traveled the pearls and difficulties of incarnations to be here on earth and in service to humanity. You uplift the energy and consciousness of others through the work that you do, whether you're aware of it or not. There are billions of souls residing on the planet at this time, yet only a small number of them are here to help humanity evolve to reach its fullest potential. You're one of those souls. Who you are is a gift to this world. Even at the best of times, it can be difficult to remember this, especially when being human feels so real. You're very connected to spirit, and this is basically what you're reminded to do. It's just to come in balance and just to be who you are, which is a beautiful soul, and that you're going to be able to reach out and fulfill your soul's contract in this particular life. And don't worry so much of always coming back, because that is why you're here right now. You've reached your goal. You're going to be reaching your understanding. And now to just move on quickly, I have one more question, because these time segments go so quickly. There's another beautiful soul is bringing out the idea of love, reaching out for what's in her destiny. You know, that she's made some difficult life changes, and, you know, what's in the future for her. Well, what I give for you is not, you know, since I constantly say we have choices and, you know, we're here on this earth to grow, that there's no such thing set in stone that I could say to you, well, you're going to meet somebody in such and such a time. Because when you come into this earth, you have soul contracts with other souls that are learning experiences. And I don't want you to get the idea that I'm saying there's no one out there. There is somebody definite. But you mentioned, well, you understand about self, you know, having to learn about self-love. And this is something that in your case is really an important lesson that you need to focus on. Because until you can stop trying to appease everybody else and really find yourself, this is the work that you need to do before you can meet up with somebody and to be truly happy. Because there's many people you can touch upon, and you may not exactly, you know, you're not going to find the happiness until you're happy with yourself. But from what I'm seeing, there is that connection to somebody special in this life, but you're going to have to do some of this work of learning about yourself, finding out what you like about yourself, and stop trying to be something, you know, to appease others. Be happy with yourself. And there's one card that I had picked out for you. It says, perhaps it feels that nothing is happening for you at the moment. Life has its lulls and downtime. The feline card, which is the card in this deck, has come to let you know that just a short time, the action is going to kick in. Get ready for it. The energy of the cat is strong within the fractal image, and the cat has a strong message for you as well. While it may feel as if you're not making any progress in your life at this moment, everything is in divine timing, divine perfection. Cats love their sleep, and this is a cue for you to take this time to really rest. The feline card may also indicate a need to have some self-nurturing. Another aspect of cat energy is playtime, is asking you to get plenty of it. When you do go out, make sure that you do the things which bring you joy. Have fun and enjoy this quiet period in your life. Things are not going to remain still for much longer. You're about to take a giant leap forward in your life. Just as the cat sits perfectly still in the grass as it watches its prey, you're being asked to allow the stillness. And this is the message of finding yourself and see what you want in life, see what goals you want. And because when everything is aligned, starts to come into alignment, and you just start to discover yourself, what makes you happy, then that's when you're going to find out that all the things are going to come together, because and you'll meet the person that's perfectly compatible for you in that life. Because unless you're happy with yourself, how can you work with somebody in a relationship level and be happy? Because love is complicated. Love is give and take. Love is understanding each other, being aware of each other. It's not it's the balance of the male and the female. So take this time to find out about you, and take my word for it. There is that person that as a soul contract, you will come together when you least expect it. It could be anywhere, but it's not like you're going to miss out on a chance, like, oh, where do I have to be? You'll be put where you needed to be, that person will come into your life. So trust me on this. And meanwhile, find your own sense of self-happiness. So these are the few questions that I've been asked, and I hope I've given you the tools to, start to ponder and to find your own answers, because that's where all the answers are, and within. As the dragonfly medicine goes, this is a time of introspection, of reflection, of taking self-responsibility, of finding yourself and being who you are. And then going out into that world with that sense of confidence, and you will start to attract everything that you need to attract. Because this is a time of miracles happening all over the earth, and you need to see that with your own two eyes. No amount of cajoling is going to get you to the place of believing without a miracle, or to displaying the wings for you. Expect your family to be healed and forgiven of past injustices. Expect your life to run smooth and bountiful. Expect from every human around you, if you need it, expect the good to come looking for you. Expect to be the favorite child of the loving universe. Use this gift wisely, promoting your own dreams and thought and action. Believe in yourself as you believe in others, and watch the magic dance through your life. Let the wishes of your life be granted, and stop holding them at bay. Create to your full potential, and then stretch that ability a little more every day. You are born to do great things, and remember that every day, and act accordingly. Now again, as we wind down from this very quick hour, I want to give you an idea about next week's program, which is it's going to be fun. I want you to have the ability to connect with Reverend Yolanda on the Circuit of Hearts radio with me. He's a truly amazing trailblazer. Reverend Yolanda, a musician, a composer, and transgender minister. She's delightful, but she's very serious about her ministry and her music. Her music is soulful and full of love and joy. But on this program, she'll discuss with me some intense subjects on bridging communities through understanding and awareness. So again, come with me. Sure. Open your minds, and I want you to meet a total delight. I mean, she just hearing her lifts your spirit. So, we're going to be in for a very definite fun time on the Circle of Hearts show next Sunday at 2 p.m. on the, OM Media Radio. And if you want to contact me, please either go to the OMTimes radio media radio website, look under the host, Allayah, or go to the programming above. You'll see links for, where to either make a comment about the programs, and also on my host page, Allayah host page, there's some bit of my biography and places where you can reach me, such as my website or on my Facebook page. Or also you can, if you have a personal question that you want answered on the show, you can reach me at Allayah Frisch, FRCH, at Comcast, at gmail.com. I have too many emails. I have to remember which one I want to send to. It's been a wonderful program. It's been, very revealing for me to actually come out so much in this program, and to help you understand the way my brain works and the way I think half of the time. So like I said, you may not have exact perfection at times. And, I hope you can laugh at me when I laugh, not at me, but with me when I do zone out. Again, many blessings to you, and I look forward to these programs of our little fireside chats in the future. That'll be every month, the last Sunday of the month, on the Circle of Arts Radio, and I am FM. Many blessings to you as you walk this your week in light and love, and open your heart and open your mind.